How's it going, guys? We're back here. It's the end of the month. I'm going to recording off of some new equipment, learning how it goes, trying to get better. Move the mic a little closer because I felt like the audio was capturing a high ceiling, which is what I have. So I maybe move the mic closer and see if that helps with that situation. This is the month in review. Month of June has kind of come and gone. We started this channel a little late in the month, so fun fact, I had a little inside information on what jokes would and wouldn't work. I was only one joke off. I had five work instead of six, so we will discuss that and the month that was, which was, as they say in It's Always Sunny, a hot one. And it was about 100 degrees here most of the days here in June. I'm really feeling it right now because usually I have my ceiling fan going, but I turned that off while I'm recording and it is getting toasty. And so we're going to kind of one shot this so that I don't die of heat exhaustion in this no air moving house. So let's get started. Like I said, we had five jokes that worked, seven jokes didn't work, with one of them being kind of an interesting journey. So let's get into it really quickly here. The good news. Like I said, five jokes. Are they all like applause break level jokes? Not at the moment. There's some that we will have to work on and redo, just not redo, but just kind of keep kind of working on it, trying to find the right little words that make it pop as far as material goes. First one probably did the best. It was "Follow Me to My Car" because I am. That's a very you when you look at me, you kind of get the joke right away that I am not somebody that can really protect anyone, let alone myself. And so that one got a really big hit. I think that was probably my strongest joke of the month. Service dog would probably come in at number two, just because the some of the tag of like basically comparing it to when you find out your dad has a real job, kind of like when your dad doesn't is no longer your hero. Like you kind of get a reality of what your dad really does. That really popped, and so that joke is probably my second strongest. Third would probably be me parking my car and not being able to find it and using the key fob as Marco Polo. Like I would say it's the third strongest, but it's probably the most ready to go just because I don't know how much more I can do to it other than act it out to try to make it larger. Like it's so, I guess all the parameters are there, so it's like a whole situation. Like it's not much of that situation that I feel like I can exaggerate. That may change. Like I said, as I grow as a comic, sometimes you just find something like, oh, what if I said it this way? We'll see on that. The gym, that that one works, but it's kind of on the lower end of what I would consider working. Like it gets a laugh, but it's just kind of like a modest laugh, and I usually like full room laughs for my weekend stuff, so it's gonna definitely be one of the ones that I kind of rework in future months just to try to refine it and get it better. Just basically adding to my gym material and just having tags that I'm trying to express, but I don't think I've found the right, I guess, keywords to really make people relate to it. And so that's going to be a work in progress. Last one that I think is probably the lowest of the bits that we're working on this month was the Chick-fil-A drive-through. It's kind of the newest idea, and it's about the craziness of a Chick-fil-A drive-through. It's worked once or twice, but I need to trim it in some places and just try and figure out a better way to go about it. Just because sometimes when you have a joke idea, there are just so many pieces of it that you're trying to incorporate into this one bit. Sometimes you just kind of it becomes like a run-on sentence. Like it just becomes too long to really sustain. Like you just don't have enough funny parts to match the length of all the things you're talking about, and so I have to edit that one. But those are my working bits. Awesome. It's been really productive. Now for the bad, and these are just my theories. The commercial, I don't think I have, again, I don't have the right point of view for the commercial where I haven't, it may just require me doing it at open mics where there are more elder people than just kids and young comics going up, because I don't think they lived the life that I had where we had nothing but commercials. And so it may work. I may try to sneak it into a regular show just to see how it works, but I may need to refine my point of view on that one. Distracted driving, I think it's just too simple. I think there's no exaggeration there, and because of that, I don't think people, it just becomes kind of a throwaway line more than a joke. And so that one will have to go back to the drawing board. Haircut, something I need to do here in a little bit, probably later today. My haircut bit just, I don't know if doesn't work just because I either it feels maybe like I'm punching down on the haircutting industry, or I just haven't fleshed it out enough to get a laugh. And so we'll go back to that one. That one, I don't think I'm far off on that one, but it just didn't get the response that I thought I would get from it. So I'm kind of blown away by that. Like that one kind of was a surprise to me that I thought was going to be one of my working bits, and when I started it, and it just has not become that at all. iPhone security, another one where it just feels like I'm missing the mark, that it's not the I think people get it, but I don't know if I don't feel either enough anger or enough emotion about it to really get a response to it. Like again, it sounds more like a throwaway line than it actually is like its own bit. And of course, homeless, the one I really thought was going to struggle. I think it got some laughs, but it also feels like that's kind of the edgier side, and I don't know if that's going to be a bit that I can do outside of open mics. So I will have to look at that one again at a later time and come back to it. And so those are the bad. Like some of those bad, I think can be good in future months if when we revisit them. So I'm not too bummed out. I would say the haircut one is the one that's kind of more of a mystery to me than the rest. And then here's the last joke that has been kind of a wild ride for this month. It's my online dating Tinder's thing, because it started out as basically how I envision women on Tinder to match with me, that they would be, I would say, disappointed or upset. And so it started out as a self-deprecating, and that laid just flat. I think I got more sympathy than I did laughs. Even though I know I'm not the most attractive guy, people don't want me to beat myself up apparently, which is unfair. I've been doing it my whole life. Let me have it. Um, but then it changed again to a situation where I came across a situation again where you swipe on a friend or someone you see them on online dating, and you swipe right on their profile thinking that they swiped right on you, only to discover that they did not swipe on you. And maybe that's just too much of a me issue to be funny, that it's at this point like I couldn't express the embarrassment of that feeling, because I only swiped right because I thought they swiped right on me, and then I found out they didn't swipe right on me at all. And I think that's a funny situation. I don't know if that's a situation that I can say in a stand up format. That may be more of a sketch, like a TikTok or a reel or something that I can create with other people, where you swipe right and then they don't swipe right on you. I think that could be a funny, sketch, but it just did not work as a stand up thing. And so then it went back to the drawing board again. Like, I really got bummed out at that one. Like, I thought the second scenario would be fairly funny. And I did it a couple times and it just laid there. Like, just, it was, it, it was like, it was one of the, it's sometimes when you do jokes and they go badly, you can feel it in your chest. It's like, oh, this is not it's either something you can't say very well, like you realize as you're trying to say it that you can't really describe what you're feeling. And so I felt like that doing the situational thing because I could just see people's eyes like not coming with me on the ride. And I'm like, okay, well, apparently I'm in this alone. And, and it was, I had to go sit outside and just think about it. And maybe it's just that I don't do online dating enough anymore or at all to really have kind of an inside baseball story about that, or I just need to rephrase that situation a different way. But it's now entered its third iteration, which is basically, to me, online dating is a lot like PE for me. I was never an athletic kid, and I was always picked last, which is how you feel on Tinder. Like you just feel like you're trying to get on an emotional kickball team, and nobody wants to pick you, and you're sitting on the bench, and finally someone does pick you, and it's so you've been sitting for so long, you've forgotten how to play at kickball. You don't know if you're even any good at kickball. You feel you and all the anxiety of going into dating for me, and it just is basically reverts back to I can't wait for this to be over. Just like when I was a kid playing sports, I was like, I can't wait for this game to be over so I can go home and play Nintendo. And so that's how I've kind of approached the online dating bit at the end of this month. It's gotten a little traction, and we'll see how that goes. That'll come back up in future rewrites, maybe pretty soon. But that was the month in review. Here in next week, I will have my July list. I actually have all my July jokes pulled and ready to go. I will list them out tonight, and we will record that at a later time here, probably tomorrow. And then I will record some more content for you guys for the month of July. I'll be traveling. I'll actually be working in Laughs Comedy Cafe in Tucson, Arizona. So maybe we'll shoot a episode or a clip from out there while I'm out there. But thanks for watching. Hope you guys have a great week. Holidays are next week. Have a